first. Like, say your names, guys.
Jacob, bass guitarist.
Mira Tirichelvam, flute and guitar.
Tiba Tirichelvam, vocals and flute and guitar.
Jacob and I play the drums.
So, how did you guys start the band?
It started with us playing together. Just
we're sisters, so
we're sisters.
Yeah.
It started with us too, and then we needed some more enforcement. We needed some more power, so we invited Jakob. They
Classmates, we didn't talk to each other in school.
3 years in high school and we didn't talk to each other. But after high school, then we.
And she contacted him, and then they grew up together.
Yeah.
So,
How was the idea born?
well, we both learned flute from our dad, bamboo flute. And then Mira is the one that started composing music, and she's also the one that has composed most of the music and the last album with Jakob. So I would say the brain behind the band is Mira. And then our parents really loved us doing things together, so that's how it started, I guess.
I was forced to play with my little sister.
I was going to ask that because, you know, with siblings, you know, if there's a close gap, there's more fighting from what my experience is. And so then to work together.
It is a challenge, but I think there's a lot of things that we've accomplished because we're sisters also. Yeah,
It's easy to realize an idea because we understand each other's background and intentions.
I think maybe it was more challenging before, like in start of the process or the band forming.
Yeah, but it is hard to work with family because you're very honest with each other. But then we have a secret language that they don't understand.
Yeah, that's true.
And these guys are peacemakers. So
They are.
Okay, let's calm down.
You go to that room and you go to that.
Yeah, okay, but let's be honest. The Indian women are very dramatic. What did you guys think when you all first started?
We had 2 songs in the beginning, and we practiced like 3 months on only those 2 songs. One of which we played tonight, Jafna. Very technical and for us simple rock band musicians.
Yeah.
We're used like 4/4, straight 4, you know, and suddenly there was like another way of thinking rhythm, of thinking the way you create songs, right? So it was in the start it was really difficult, and maybe that was a good thing, yeah.
Did y'all at any point, you know, with the difficulty of learning this new type of rhythms, did y'all ever say, like, no man, I'm not doing this anymore? Did y'all ever come to that?
Almost.
Sometimes I want to smash my drums like into the wall. No! Why doesn't it work?
Because we also realized that we count differently when we play together, so we couldn't count out loud together. So we had to.
And still today, there are some parts of the music that I think differently than you guys.
Yeah.
It's really weird. Yeah.
And how many years have you been doing this?
We've been playing. We've had this band for around 8 years now. The album. First one was in 2019, but the first single, I think it was in 2016.
For aspiring artists out there, how did y'all drop your first single? Like, how did you go out and get that done?
We were actually very lucky because we met a guy called Joar in Bergen and we asked him for help, and he signed us right away. He helped us through those first growing years, and he released that first song and then the second one and then the album, so he actually did a lot of work that we wouldn't have known how to do. So it was a big part of that starting process.
And the first album and the first songs in our music career was more about, I think, exhibiting our music or actually also exotifying ourselves, because it was like our way of being Tamil was different in Bergen, and people we're not used to having Tamil women standing on a stage and expressing themselves freely. So the first album was more like, we are going to stand on this stage, put on our clothes and be proud of who we are. And it was just about the exterior and how people will perceive us. While the second album is more honest. It's more about our own struggles, our own history, and the Tamil people's history, and the Tamil Tamil's history. So it's a more honest album, and I think we have developed through these 8 years. We have been more honest with ourselves, and I think many diaspora kids operating in the music industry have this tendency in the beginning to, like, you are different, so, and people love the different thing with you, and because of that you're selling yourself as something different and exotic, or you're objectifying yourself in the industry. But we're done with that. We want to tell our own stories, and our last album is about it's about things about like the immigrant community in Norway, and it's about rumors in the communities, like what we started to go outside and party and drinking alcohol and putting on short dresses, and so the song is about how we try to deal with both cultures. And the last song in our album is about trying to express your feeling as a Tamil, but the Tamil community is not showing interest in your stories. Instead of that, we are exposed to the Bollywood, Hollywood culture that is very overfloodish. It's very
superficial.
Like, yeah. So I think we have been through a lot of reflections.
We've grown together, but also through those albums, and maybe it's not as clear for people listening, but it feels better with this second album and the set we're playing and the clothes we're wearing, and
being yourselves. Do you feel like you fit in properly in a community because you have the Norwegian part of you and you have the Indian part of you, and like you said,
we are Sri Lankan.
Sri Lankan. Okay, yes. I'm saying Indian because I'm so used to that. Because in South Africa we have the segregation as nobody cares you're Sri Lankan. They just care that you're Indian, right? So, but Sri Lankan and your culture, your language, and the Norwegian culture and language as well. Do you feel like you fit in both worlds, neither worlds? How do you see yourself in that?
I think, like personally, I've found the balance between both of them, but like the third problem has like arrived, and that is being an experimental artist. It's very rare to find. Like Priya Raghu, we are warming up for her today. She is also different. She has another story. She has another style. There are not enough Tamil that experiment with their own culture, and I think we need that progression in our culture. In that way, I feel alone. But if I sing a typical Hollywood style song, I know that many people would follow us and love us. But we are trying to find our own voice, our own Tamil voice, and because of that, I sometimes feel alone.
Have you been exposed to this mix of culture before you started joining this band?
Only in small portions. We went to the same ungdomsskole.
Junior high.
Together. And in our class there were several Tamil people, so a bit exposed, but not much. Not much to music either. They were listening to popular rappers and.
But like in some ways, and like in maybe once a year, that we would have like this concert where a lot of the different students would do different performances, and then some of the students would do like traditional dancing and to do a showcase of their culture, right? But not that they made it themselves. It was more like just showing how their culture,
And so from that time to this time, like when you were in school to now being actually a part of creating this type of music, has your mentality or thoughts changed? Your experience, your love for the music has changed?
Definitely.
Can you explain a little bit how?
Like Mira said, like it has changed so much from the start, where it was about showcasing the Tamil culture, and for a time I thought personally that it's about this, it's about showing off, and that's a good thing because Norwegian people need to see the Tamil culture as well. But then actually Mira have taught me a lot about changing the mindset and being more like, okay, we have to also create, not being like a showcase, like, oh, check out this fancy culture. It's more like we have to create our own way of mixing cultures and being our own voice, I guess.
I would say that in many ways, as a band, we've also changed a lot, grown together, because I feel like the discussions we can have today about the band's identity, the clothes we wear, the reflections behind the songs, and the lyrics. Even though Mira is the one writing the lyrics, everyone has to understand what we're singing, not necessarily every single word, but the context of the music. I feel like it's a bit different because before we would just tell you guys like, this is what this song is. It's about sugar, or it's about being late to school. Very very simple explanations. But now it's more in depth. I feel like you guys are also more into reflecting, even though you're writing it by yourselves. We also still reflect about the text and realize maybe more in depth about things behind the text that but it's just great to have people that you can reflect with. That's also
You've been writing all the music, just the lyrics or the rhythms or everything?
The first album I produced like all the. Many people think that when female producers only make the top line singing and maybe acoustic guitar, but there are many female musicians that know how to produce music. I work as a producer right now, so I can produce like many segments of the song. So yes, on the first album, and then the second album, Jakob and me, we worked together. We just had a very short timeline. We have to finish the song, so or the album. So we really collaborated great. I think so.
Now, what have you guys studied? What is your education behind?
Oh, like I'm a typical Asian. I come from a typical Asian household. So
Doctor, lawyer, engineer.
Yes, something like that. Molecular biology. I don't remember
Apparently,
anything.
I'm not from the same family.
Wow. She's the special sister.
But I studied marketing. I work with festivals, so I'm a project manager for festivals.
Okay.
She's also very unique in her way, because in Bergen we don't have promoters that have this multicultural background. So she has a different mindset, and she brings a lot of different ideas into that industry. And sometimes a lot of music from minority culture doesn't get promoted because we don't have the right promoters that understand the complexity of the multicultural society. And in order to commercialize our kind of music, we need to have good promoters. Like, for example, my sister.
Yeah, they usually, it's a tendency that people use the same network, and then they find one artist with a minority background, and then they just use that same artist in many different arenas. So that's, it's a big job, and you end up sometimes crying and sometimes arguing with a lot of people, but that's just, it's important for me that I represent, but also give other people the same opportunity that we got. So I love being on stage, but I also love making it possible for other people to do the same, as us.
Do you think that now that you have won the Norwegian Grammy Award, it's going to be a little bit easier with the marketing? Getting people to see you and respect you.
I think in Norway we've done a really good job. We've played a lot. We've been touring for 8 years. All summers we've been playing a lot of festivals. But I think it would be great now to focus more on the Tamil diaspora outside of Norway, and that's why we're so happy that we could warm up for Priya Ragu today. It actually means a lot because we really, really want to play outside of Norway. Yeah.
Okay, so this is your first time playing outside of Norway?
No, we've played in Sweden and Denmark before.
But we really want to play outside for the Tamil community. We know that the diaspora is big, but somehow it's a bit difficult to reach out to these communities, and I think the communities are big, but I think most of them import musicians from Kollywood, South India, instead of encouraging local diaspora Tamil artists. And that's also an issue that many people talk about in the diaspora community. So yeah, I hope there will be a change soon.
I personally have not heard anything like it, the combinations that you're using. How was that born?
I think that's just a natural way. I listened to Linkin Park and Green Day as a teenager, and then I started to listen to Rahman and jazz and everything. And I think it's normal for a confused kid from Norway to. I think it's a natural product of just our upbringing and
a fusion
the environment.
of many worlds.
Yeah, I don't think we are trying to make this kind of music. Just someone also told us that our second album was more mature. So we're 30 now. So I think that's also
some of us are 30.
So the first time that you guys played that song for your parents, and your parents, of course, because I'm pretty sure your parents must be very proud of you guys.
Of course.
Yeah. So what did they think about like the first song that you wrote, and you actually performed it for them? Like, did you perform it for them? Did you play it for them? How did that go out?
Well, Mira wrote it, and then we played it together. We didn't really. Did we ever sit them down and
No,
play
I don't
them?
think so. They just came to the concert we were playing, and I think they were pretty surprised. Yeah.
I think they like the energy on stage. I think they feel, or I guess not only our parents, but I think we have a good connection together, all four of us, and I think they think it's nice that we're a small family playing together. So I think our parents, all of the parents, are very happy.
So did they think it was like, oh, it's just a hobby thing that you guys are doing for fun? Until you got booked for your first show.
Maybe in the beginning, my mother was always like, she's from a generation that wants to please the host nation, so she was always like, sing on Norwegian. They Norwegian people love it.
Why are you singing? Make a song about Bergen. But she actually still asks us, oh, if you just made one song about Bergen, you guys would go viral.
I think there is a friction between the first generation and second generation. I think we are trying to understand our roots, and I think we also understand the cultural difference between us and ethnic Norwegians, or we are more reflected about it, while our parents have just accepted it. We are not accepting it. We are questioning it, and I think there's where the misunderstanding comes between our parents and us.
But they're very supportive of what we do now, and
they are on like every concert.
they come to everything.
After 8-9 years.
Maybe they're lingering in the back of the head.
Oh, I would love to meet them and shake their hands. Like, really. And what did your parents think? You guys, Jakob and Jakob.
No one's ever seen something like our band, even in Bergen. they were surprised as well, I guess. But my mom listens to the album, so
So she's a girl, yeah.
she loves it. Yeah.
My parents are musicians, so for them, so when we start playing, I think they were just like, okay, this is something completely different, and they just, yeah, I think they were really happy that we found our own kind of identity and our own